Oh, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Absolutely delighted to be sharing with you this summer origami session. And it's hopefully going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get into the summer theme. And this is our final project for We Can Origami, which is all thanks to the National Lottery with a community fund. And it's just been great to reach out to so many different people, encouraging us to fold sense of community together, and this will be such a special final event for this. It's actually, we've just in time managed to create a beautiful booklet. We've got 25,000 of these printed with some funding as well from hospital charities, and this will be something that we can offer. It'll be a PDF, but also to actually physically send to places. So really excited about that. So the project will keep going on as well, and I'm sure many more things will happen as well. So let's get started. Many of these folds, huge thanks to Peter Buchan-Symons, who's an amazing origamist in Oxford, which is where I live as well. And he's been so kind to share his amazing work. He's been creating little seasonal books, which I absolutely love. They're so friendly and so beautiful and so thoughtful as well. So this is obviously on a seaside theme, and it includes both traditional models as well as his own new design. So we're going to use quite a lot of this actually. So huge thanks to Peter and for his permission. So we're going to start off actually with something called a windsurfer, which is absolutely delightful. Maybe to look at, you wouldn't realise how good it is, but it's a little action model. I know maybe some of you have done this with me before, but it's such fun to do. So if you grab yourself a piece of paper, of course, and I will guide you through this. If you need help at any point, feel free to put in the chat box or unmute yourself, whatever's good. I will also, maybe if I spotlight myself for people who want to see me bigger, if you need to do that. Okay, so my piece of paper, we're going to first of all just halve it, and this is just such a playful model. And then after this, I think we're going to make a wave as well, which feels very appropriate. So all I've done is I've taken my piece of paper and I've folded it in half, good strong fold. And I've made, now I can make just a little tiny little nick there. Put your hand nice and close to the edge and you can tear off there. And that's what I'm going to use to make my square. And it's actually the standard sort of size that we use in origami as well. And I just hope, if this is new for you, well, that's really exciting. If it's not new for you, I hope you just enjoy the calming effect of origami. Take your time. So we're going to take a corner and we're going to fold it down and line it up. So it makes a nice little sharp pointy triangle. That's brilliant. And we're going to remove that rectangle. So I'm going to turn it over. If you need me to repeat anything, do say. I think some of you may already have your squares of paper, so I am mindful of that as well. So good strong fold. And then I can tear that off. Quite useful for lists, I find, these little pieces of paper. So if you're using origami paper, then this is the white side. So if you're using origami paper, fold it in half so that this is the white side, so it's like that. And then open it up. So at the moment it should look something like this. And I will pause just for a moment. Great. So next we're going to take one edge and we're going to bring it to that middle line, like so. It's going to start to look like a kite, which is what it almost could be, or an ice cream cone, or summery things. I did one side, and then the other side again to meet. And again, just take your time, enjoy going slowly, looking carefully, and all of this really does bring you, it's very mindful, it brings you into that present moment, which I think is what's so powerful about origami. There we go. So hopefully you've got your ice cream cone or your kite. Great. Excellent. Lovely. So our next step is going to be to take the bottom and lift it up to the top so that they match. So So bringing this up, and oh, there's some more people coming in. Welcome everyone. Sorry I didn't spot you there. Letting you in now. Thank you for joining us. We're only just starting, so welcome. We'll be doing another fold in just a moment. If you have just arrived, my apologies, it's taken a moment. Good morning. I am recording this session, so it's up to you whether you're happy to be on camera or not. I have taken a square of paper and I folded it in half, so this is the white side, and I'm taking the edges and bringing it to the middle. Quick catch up there to make what looks like a kite. So our next step is to take the bottom and bring it up to the top. The good thing is I've been recording this, so I will be uploading it to Dr. Lizzie Burns' channel, so you can always go back to anything if you have missed anything at all. Lovely. So hopefully it's looking like this. And now if you give it a little somersault, turn it over, like so. Are you all with me, or does anybody need me to explain? I know some of you are having to very quickly catch up. So we're going to take the outside line and bring it to the middle line. So it's this tilting line here, and you're going to have to get it across there into the middle. This is a little action toy. It's a traditional one, and it is really delightful. You can have maybe little races. And just get you into that feeling free mood, that outside line to the middle. And I think, yeah, we need to be more games and things outside, don't we? I think. This isn't one I have to say that I do in the hospital because it involves blowing. I think that's not something we'll encourage for now, but it's something lovely to do at home. So that's perfect. Right, hopefully it looks like this. It's an interesting shape. I can imagine it could be all sorts of things to it, can't you? Be a little beetle or something. So we're going to take this bottom flap and we're going to lift it up and join it from this point to this point. We're almost there, which is the really good news. So lifting it up, can you see? All I did was I folded it from there to there. Lifted it up, and you have actually made your windsurfer. I just need you to lift that sail so it's at sort of 90 degrees. And then the point of truth, let's see whether this thing works. Now it sails, interestingly, because I think of something, a sailor, that maybe windsurfer, it should maybe go on the water. Actually, this is for you to play with at home. So on a table or something like this, if you pop it down on a surface and you can blow on that, and hopefully, we'll see whether it flies. It flies really well. Ooh. So it's simple but playful and surprisingly effective. And maybe you can have some races. But it also feels as if it's relaxing the breathing as well, isn't it? So I hope you'll enjoy that little windsurfer traditional model. Lovely to think that's come from Japan. Oh, lovely to see it sailing around for you as well. Excellent. And maybe if there's a family of you at home, we could maybe make a few more. Maybe have some boat races. So I thought the next thing we could do is fold a wave, which is actually Peter's own new design, which is just, it feels like such an iconic image too. I'm just going to look up the wave so I can show you. So he's designed his own wave. You can even balance a little boat on there as well. And it's very much obviously reminiscent of the famous painting print, by Hokusai, 1831, and it's called The Great Wave of Kanagawa. And you can see these tiny little boats there, so maybe if we have time we could even make some of these little boats. I thought what we could do, so this is what we are going to be folding, which is this. It does feel like this great wave, and it stands up by itself. It also looks really effective if you make a whole series of them. So it could be different sizes and shapes, and you can, as Peter shows there, balance his own design, but you could even balance a little boat there or a little shell there, create your own little seaside scene. So I would recommend, actually, I've really enjoyed is to look at this painting, and if you have any blue pens, let's just do a really quick doodle on a piece of paper. So I'm going to make, first of all, I guess a square, and then I'll show you some quick doodling so you can make it. So if you do have any blue pens around. So again, make a square, take a corner. If you've got origami paper, obviously blue, and actually if it has white at the back, then that's really good because you can give it that foam as well. I'm going to remove a rectangle like so. Here we go, and then a little tiny nick. So this inside would be the white side, but it's going to be the top. This is going to be the wave. So I've rather enjoyed looking at the painting, sorry, the print, and then maybe give lovely feelings of splashes. There is, of course, no right or wrong way to do this. So, but I love a little bit of doodling. So I'm going to do just having a feeling of it also reminds me a little bit of the kind of Japanese spontaneity and feeling of nature. Maybe you've got these almost like little fingers, haven't you, at the edge of the wave? And we never quite know how it's going to fold up, but I think that's what's quite interesting. Maybe if you have other types of blue in there as well. Be quite liberating in itself to do a little bit of drawing. I find myself getting lost in that as well. And also you don't have to worry about exactly what it's like because it's going to fold up, it will change, but that's been my very quick splashy doodle. Which, yeah, I recommend. It's nice to do. Hopefully. Oh, crashing waves. Are you happy? Have you got something that you feel you can use now? Great. Oh, thank you. Lovely. So if you take your piece of paper, and we'll go onto the white side here. Great. So make sure you have that diagonal line. Just make sure you've got a diagonal line there, and opening it up. Our next step will be to take the outside and bring it to the middle, but in this case we're leaving a bit of a gap in the middle, so it's a deliberate gap. Something like that. Can you see? That's the middle line, but I've left a gap, and I'll do the same on the other side. This feels just so classic. It's amazing, Peter, that you come up with something new that feels as if it should definitely be a traditional fold. I reckon it will become it with time. So it should be looking like this. That gap in between. Great. So you should be able to fold it inwards like so, and you'll see it's already beginning to have a bit of a wave feel to it. Are you happy with that? If you've got something like this, think of big waves. Maybe you could make a whole series of them as well. Could make a really nice display. There's just something so incredible about watching waves, isn't there? The feeling and the sound of it. I don't know, folding this, I find myself really thinking of waves in a beach. Ah, yes, of course, Peter. So let me show again. So we had white side, and I'd folded a diagonal line, and then I took the outside and I folded it, but with a gap in the middle, and the same there at the bottom. So there is a gap. Are you happy with that? Is that okay? And next, take it and just fold it up. That's all. So that's all you need to do. Hopefully that's fairly simple. So I think all I did, which is probably the confusing bit, was I turned it round so that this base, I'm just doing it so it matches up the picture for me. So you've got this base there, and you can imagine this will become a wave. So our next step is to take the top of our wave and we're going to begin to curl it over. So we're going to take the top about that. They're all going to be a bit different actually. This is a bit of a guesstimate. So I am folding over, and I guess so that this is a bit of a right angle. Can you see that's a right angle? So around there, honestly, it doesn't quite matter. I think they're all going to be a bit different. But you can see it's roughly a right angle there, as Peter has shown as well. I'll put as well at some point, if you were interested in his book, if you look up on Etsy, Easy Seaside Origami, Peter Buchan-Symons, you find it on Etsy, or he's got a website, PBS Origami as well. He's doing so many different things. A rising star, that's it. So looking like that, great. Right, it's a bit like doing birds. You often do folds and then you sort of undo it a bit, because at the moment it sticks out on one side and you want it to be a bit more balanced. So we're going to open it up, and now if I'm going to this side, so you're looking on the outside and you're not adding any extra folds, you're going to go along the line that you've made and just, I suppose, turn it inside out almost. But it means then it's equal on both sides, and then it will fold back. Let me do that again. I feel as if it's not that clear. So I'd made that line there. Now I undid it, and if I look at it from looking at the ridge there, I'm opening it up and I'm almost sort of pushing it inside out. So I'm pushing it in there. I'm following the lines I've made, and it means then it looks the same on the outside, on each side. You're having to make, you'll find that there's a nice little white edge there, so if you have been using blue and white paper, you'll get a little ridge there, I guess. So the wave is beginning to curl around. Lovely. So our next step is for the gravity to really come into place for our wave. So it's to take the end of the wave and bring it down like that. And we'll all be a little bit different, I'm sure. It's the same thing again, actually, that we're then wanting to open it up, put your finger in, and actually it's a little bit easier here because you'll be able to quite easily push in with your fingers, following the same lines, and you're sort of tucking it in. It's a bit like a bird's head, actually, this. And then it's nice on both sides that way. Did you get that? Should I do it again? Oh, lovely. That looks great, Alison. Love it. So opening it up, popping your fingers inside, pushing it in, and then squashing it down. So we're almost there. One last step, and particularly if you've got two-sided paper, is really just to slightly fold back, and it would reveal the white a little bit more. So you can fold back there, actually on both sides. And it's just adding that little tip to the wave, and it just finishes it off perfectly. And hopefully you'll find that your wave does balance there, and you could make a whole lovely series of them, as I've been finding myself doing, like so. Lovely. Oh wow, lovely to see those waves. Bev, you're making waves. Oh, Alison, that looks amazing. Oh, Laura, wow, a whole series of them. Gosh, well done. Oh, that's beautiful. Fabulous. Oh. Yeah, big thanks to Peter for that. It's so nice, isn't it, the waves? Doesn't it feel like a classic? Yeah, simple but beautiful. I love how it stands up, so it just really reminds you of the sea, definitely. Brilliant. Oh, see those waves. So I thought our next fold is again from Peter, and actually this is a traditional fold which just blows my mind. It's so beautiful. It's a traditional shell. This is it, and I've looked at similar things with just absolute wonder. Can you believe there is no glue there, no cutting? It's entirely folds, and it stands up really nicely too, so your little shell could go, ha, she says, and it falls straight over. But you can also, you could maybe have your waves in the background as well and get your little shell there. So it's beautiful. It reminds me of the Nautilus. I don't know if you know the Nautilus's gorgeous shape, and obviously shells. I have at times tried doing a similar sort of pattern to the Nautilus, and actually here I folded it slightly differently at the end, so it's a bit wider. So that's another thing you could do. So up to you whether you want to do any quick shading at all. I might do a tiny quick shading. First of all, make your square or find some paper you feel is suitable. I hope you're going to enjoy this. I think this is such a special fold. And to get a spiral from it, wow. I'm going to remove this rectangle. Like so, and you could, if you wanted to do any quick shading, it's up to you. I think it just helps people who might, just thinking of the stripes of the shell. But you really don't need to do this. If you felt like it, you could. Or not if you don't. I've begun to love running out felt tips because they add a more subtle quality. And again, I just find it quite liberating to do a little bit of playing around with drawing first as well. Because you know it will all change as you fold it. Pink. So I'm adding some stripes just because I'm thinking of the Nautilus, which is the kind of closest relative to an ammonite. I don't know if you've seen fossil ammonites, which are beautiful, lovely shape. And they have more of a kind of squid-like creature inside. Very beautiful. There we go. So I've got my paper ready. This is a very satisfying fold. Lovely. How are you all doing? Are you all ready for the next fold? Lovely. So I had my colour on the outside. For the white side, just again a diagonal fold. Actually, sorry, if you have origami paper, you don't need to do that. It's just because I already have it. Doesn't matter either way though. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a halfway mark along one side, and we're just going to do a little mark about that sort of length, so not the whole way across. So I'm just folding over to make a rectangle and just folding at the end just to make that mark. Just because you want a line, that's all. Great. Are you happy? Have you all got that? So I just took one edge, I took one corner to the other, and I just pressed just a little way along. Lovely. So our next step is to take this top corner and I'm going to bring it all the way down to that line so that the corner touches it, and it needs to go nicely through that corner over there. So I took this top corner and I brought it to the line like so from that top corner. I definitely would recommend doing this on a solid surface so you get this nice and accurate. There we go. So it should be like that. Happy? Okie. Great. And so now take this bottom edge and just lift it up, and it will line up really nicely along that edge. It looks to me like a little hug actually. It's just such a pleasing little shape going on here. So I lifted up the bottom. Lovely. Looking really good. Very pleasing. It's a very long shape, this. I really like it. Feels like there's a lot of potential to play and experiment with this. Great. Excellent. So we're going to fold this in half so it goes inwards. So just fold this inwards. Line it all up again. Enjoy just taking your time. It's such a lovely shape, this. You can feel it's got an elegance to it somehow. As I said, I'm sure you could do all sorts of lovely things with this. So it should be looking like this. I'm just going to find the relevant page that we can look at Peter's lovely drawings as well, which are really hard things to do. Turns out, even though origami's hard, drawing diagrams is harder still. Can you believe it? Okay, so we're going to be leaving, this is going to be the front of the shell, and this whole area will end up as a spiral. So we're going to make a little line up here from about there. So we're going to take this and bring it down so that this makes a right angle there. You see, that's a right angle. So it was around there. It's a guesstimate, that'll all be a bit different. I'm bringing it down so that's a right angle, like so. Now this is going to be fun. This is the way that I found I could do it best. Is we're going to do all of the lines and then undo it, and then get it into a nice little tight position. So all we're doing is enjoying the lines for now. And then we can do some folding up in a different way. Great. So it becomes very self-led. We're going to take this line and line up to there. So we're going to take this and sort of swing it up there so that this lines up. This has become my favourite fold at the moment. Bottom edge lining up like so. That's it. I can feel the wonderful concentration with everybody. And then this bottom edge line up with the next edge. So taking this, swinging it up there and lining it up like so. That's it. And then same thing, taking this edge, lining up that line. So I'm swinging it round and lining it up there. Getting a little bit thick by now, but it's all part of it. And then same thing, taking this edge, swinging it down to line up against the next line. Isn't that cool? I just think it's so lovely. It just keeps going. I don't know if would you get a bigger spiral if it was a bigger piece of paper? I don't even know. But I like asking these questions. I guess the only way to find out is to do it, really, isn't it? I don't know. And again, a line down there, swing it up down to the next line. And so it becomes very self-perpetuating. I find this very meditative, this one. Again, picking this up and bringing it up again to that line there, and then again same thing, bring it up, lining it round. It gets tinier and tinier, but it's still going a little bit strong. And again if you can, and again if you can still. I don't know how many turns that is, but so hopefully it's looking like that, and it does look like the thing that we want to make. But at the moment, in a moment, you'll see it will just spring open. Are you all happy that, yes, exactly. Alison, it's gorgeous. Look at that. It's a gorgeous little spiral. Yes. It's like the real inside of the shell, isn't it? If you took a snail out, you'd feel that little body coming out. Really reminds me of that. Has that worked for everybody? If we can manage to get this lovely little spiral. But at the moment, I mean, it's nice, but it's not really staying together. So we're going to have to do some refolding, but the principle is really easy. Once you get the principle, you'll find it's all good. So if we undo all the lines that we've done, you'll see this nice little series of zigzaggy lines. I'm undoing it, but those lines are there. They will help us in just a moment. Looking a bit like that. Great. Now the principle, which is really simple, is always to fold backwards. So the lines that we made, at the moment this goes forward, change that to backwards. So the first line, go backwards along the line that you've already made. Now my next line would easily push up. Again, you need to push back. So take that line you've got, fold it back the other way. So it's underneath. Quite thick. Don't know how yours is. And again, I can feel that my next line would fold up. Again, not fold up, but fold underneath. And it's actually this fold that will lock it in to keep it all together rather than sticking up. So it's coming up like that and it's beginning then to hold it together. I'm afraid you'll only learn in your own hands and in your own mind. And again, it's the next one, it would feel like it folds that way, well, fold it the other way. So each time we're going backwards. And I suppose we could have folded it all the right direction, but it's quite difficult to do. So, and I rather love that spiral that you see. So again, it feels like it would fold down there. So I'm going to do it backwards. And each time you do it backwards, it makes this really nice, strong little spiral. Like this. And again, next one. Again, you might feel where it's going already, and then undoing it and then turning it back. Oh. It's a very meditative piece, this. Complete concentration is needed. Probably good eyesight as well, which mine is not quite as good as it used to be, but it's good enough. So it does feel a little bit counterintuitive at times. It's almost like doing a very tight little knot. Again, I'd like to feel where the line is first and then going up. In that case, I need to do it underneath. So keep going, keep going. Takes time.
I'm doing something wrong here because it just looks the same.
What? It looks the same. So it's that you're not doing it back.
What have I done wrong?
Yes. No, don't worry.
It's still springy.
It's a lovely spring. So take that first top line. You need to do the other way. Let me see. I'll try undoing mine.
I go back to where I was.
Just to go back to where you are now. So I'm doing it. It's all there. It takes a little while to get your head around this.
Yeah, there's just something I'm not doing now, I'm sure.
So that first, so it's like this. Now this was probably going forward. Instead, bring it backwards. So you're not adding any extra lines. So it's sort of tucked away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then next one, again, feel where it will go. It's folding up this way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But instead, take that line and do it the opposite direction. So it was sticking up, so now it needs to go underneath. And this is what you're doing each step. And I know it does take, it's almost like unlearning it, isn't it? And it's probably the next fold that's the most crucial, because it will then really hold it in. And again, it feels a bit counterintuitive, but it was going forward like this, and instead it needs to go backward. So I'm going to have to twist it round, and it will then come in front of that paper, and this is the step which actually then will keep it all flat, because I was bewildered as to how to do this for quite a while.
Oh, so it's kind of looking
That's it.
more.
That's it. Yeah. And again, the same thing. Each time, you enjoyed feeling where it was going. It was going quite happily in the front. No, take that and reverse it.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Are you getting it?
so.
It's a little bit like unlearning stuff, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's doing it now. It's going flat.
And it's so amazing because it will be such a tight little spiral, but it requires lots of concentration. But
Thank you.
It certainly took me a long time to get a hang of it. So be patient with yourself, and it's very fiddly by the end. By the very end, you can even just sort of twist it a little bit. Trying to get there too. Okay. Ha. And actually by the very end you could even just sort of square it around a bit to get your little, almost like a little twist, but it should be then a really nice sort of flat shell there, and the front, excellent, is like that. So you can have it wide, or I slightly looked at the shape of Nautilus and I slightly changed it actually, so I ended up tucking in a little bit to make it a bit flatter, and it actually helped make it a little bit more stable too. It's honestly, there's no right or wrong, whatever feels right, or you might have it longer depending on what you find the most pleasing. Did that work for most of you? Yes, well done. Yes, you got there. Yeah, and it's just each time go underneath, which makes it tricky, but it's what makes it all stay together, like that lovely little look there. Oh, well done. Excellent. It's an achievement. So I'm slightly toying whether to do a lovely starfish from Peter. And it's funny because I've made lots of them and I'm suddenly questioning if I know how to do it. So it depends. So you can make a little 3D starfish, and inspired by the real thing. Did you want us to have a go? I feel as if I'm still a little bit rusty. Yeah? So please be patient with me if I'm finding that I'm getting in a twist. I hope not, but it is possible. So I hope we'll get there. It's one, again, that's a little bit mind-bending, but brilliant. So just to show you, this is again Peter's work, Starfish. And actually it's featured in the British Origami Society's latest magazine as well. I saw there. Right, get yourself a piece of paper. I'll give this a go. Hope I can do it. Well, you know, we're all in the same boat then, which is all rather appropriate for the sea, isn't it? So I'm just going to make myself first of all a square. And the mind-boggling thing about this is it's a starfish with 5 arms from a square of paper. Whoa. How is that possible even? It is just incredible. I have, this will also be an up and coming film too, so I really have practiced it lots, but it's amazing how unless you're practicing often a lot, then things can slightly slip how you've done things. But if not, I've got a little backup diagram I can look at if I do get lost. I hope not. We're going to remove that strip. Good to challenge yourself, hey? And I think if you take the challenge with a playful, positive attitude, knowing with persistence, you'll get there eventually. I think that's what origami's, one of the good qualities of origami. So there's no need to do a diagonal actually, so it's just I need to do that to make my piece. I rather liked, I was looking at the gorgeous starfish. I got this second hand, I wouldn't buy anything like that new. but just so incredibly beautiful. Maybe you might be a bit inspired by some of those marks and patterns, so I'm going to do a quick little thinking of some of those lovely dots. Let's look at the amazing pattern in the middle. It really is the fives there. So you might want to do something with five. No idea whether it would end up being in the right position or not, but just have a play. And even just a bit of a swirling effect can look quite good. And fold it up. And again, many thanks to Peter. This is his own original work, and he's been very supportive of origami as a tool for community and well-being and expressing care. So I will wait until you're ready, or maybe you found a starfishy coloured piece of paper, maybe pink or orange or yellow, something like that. That's great. And as I said, I may have a quick look at a backup picture at some point if I get in a twist. Let's see. Right, let's be brave together. So I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to turn it over to the right side. So what we're going to do is we're going to do horizontal and a vertical. I think this will be lovely by your waves and your lovely shell too. So I've done a horizontal and then a vertical, and I guess this will be the last fold then, as this will take us, I think, to 12. And will be the toughest fold yet. Great. So ignore my diagonal. I've just done my horizontal and vertical. Happy? Lovely. So we're going to take this bottom edge and we're going to bring it up, but a little bit below the middle line. Again, Peter's really thought these things through. I would never have realised, would you? But anyway, there will be a reason for this. So lifting it up with a little gap there. Little gap. So our next step is to take the top and bring it down to the bottom, like so. So it's looking like this. It's looking, I don't know, in a card position really. Our next step now is we're going to take this middle point and we're going to fold it to the outside corner. So I'm going to take this and folding it from there down to that point. If you're finding it tricky to see, you can always do it back and then fold it forward, if you see what I mean. So that's sometimes what I do, is I might go, okay, I find it easier to fold it from there to see what I'm doing. I guess this is one you really do have to do very carefully. Right. Definitely going to have to see what I'm doing here. Take your time, as I'm doing. So it goes from that point down to that point. Now, while we're here, if you take the other side, we're going to go from that top point to that point. And if we just do it backwards, so it's kind of like one's on one side, one's on the other. Like that. So hopefully it looks like this front and back is the same. How on earth can this possibly become a five-sided shape? I do not know. But consider it magic, I think. Great. So what we're going to do next is take this corner, this outside corner, and bring it to the point where it's touching the other line. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring it to that point, and it will give a little fold line. So I am bringing this over like that, touching it there, squashing it down, just to give a nice little fold, and then undoing it. And it's given that little fold line. And if we turn to the back and do the same thing, okay, taking that point and where it touches there, bringing it over like so, and squashing it down, and then undoing it again. Right, this is the bit I was trying to puzzle with just before I put just before I started the event, so go patient with me. Fingers crossed. So there is sort of 2 layers in there, I hope I've done this right. Right, there are 2 layers. What we need to do, I think, is we're going to leave the outside as it is. I'm definitely feeling, what am I doing? Or maybe it's taking this and sorry, I'm just trying to figure it out. Actually, I think it's okay. Right. Okay, so opening it up, you've got a little line here. So if you open this up, you've got a little line here. And I just want you to be able to get that line so it sticks, so it will go inwards like that. And then close it up. You can see how I was beginning to struggle. Sorry, I'll see if I can get it actually there. So from the inside, that little line is going to go in, and this diagonal will stick out. Sorry, you don't even know what it is you're aiming at, but it will mean that this little bit will stick out while the other line has stayed as it was. Well done if you're following this. I think so. Yes, that's it. Well done. That's well done. Let me show it one more time. I'm really sorry it's not particularly clear. As I said, I still feel like I'm trying to get to grips with this myself. So I folded it in to reach this point, opening it up, and then we're just going to get that inner layer to stick out a different direction. So this diagonal line here will stick out, and this line will stick in. So I'm not adding anything extra, but you'll find that this then sticks out, and so it's touching that original line that we made. Does that make sense? It doesn't make an awful lot of sense. Consider this a challenge. I'm certainly considering it a challenge. It is brilliant. It's always getting your head around something new. Going to do the same on the back. So again, we'd already made that little line. So opening it up, and it's just the inside layer, this diagonal line getting to stick out and this line to go in, and that will then allow that little piece to stick out. And you can see how this is so mindful, because quite frankly you cannot think about anything else when you're trying to do something a little bit tough. And then closing it back up. I have made a video which will be coming out in a couple of weeks' time, which will probably be much clearer, because I had actually been much better at practicing. As I said, everything needs a lot of practice to do things well. Have you managed to do this front and back? Oh, well done. I'm impressed. So next, at the moment, this sort of sticks out a bit. This bottom layer sticks out a bit beyond that horizontal line. So first of all, if you just lift it up, just to make it flat at the bottom. Well, including all the layers. So it's just making it flat along that bottom line, and then tuck it away. So I'm doing that so I can show you, but then tuck that underneath, tuck it away. We've definitely graduated up the difficult fold, so if you're struggling with this, don't worry about it. Honestly, it's fine. I'm sure you're inventing something new. So hopefully you can tuck that away. And actually, the more precise, which clearly this requires a lot of practice, the better that starfish is. But you know what, starfish can be a bit wobbly and a bit wonky. And if you turn to the back, and it's the same thing again, you can see this sticks out below that layer. I find it easier to lift it up. I think mine's going to be a bit of a wonky starfish actually. These lines don't look very equal. And then tucking it underneath again. So it should be looking like this. Right, I'm just going to briefly need to see what to do. Okay. Happy-ish. If you're happy-ish, I think that's a miracle. And if not, no time you'll get there. And you could even wait for the video in a couple of weeks, and it'll be better, I promise. But this is trying it along together. Happy to try the next step? Yeah? So we're going to take this top side and we're going to match it up with that line. So can you see I'm twizzling that round? So this side lining up along that line. Like so. So I took that top edge and brought it around to line up. I definitely don't think mine's going to be particularly good starfish. Practice makes perfect. Eventually, or not, it's fine. Right, just slightly lift it up, and can you see there's that little bit? Can you just tuck it over the top? So it was like that. You can tell this is from someone who's a very good origamist, can't you? Because there's so much to it. Lifting that up, picking that up, and bringing it over. That's it. Lovely. Now I hope it'll quickly appear. We'll see what happens. Turn it now to the back, and now take this side and lift it up and bring it round to line up there. Taking this line, lining it up there. Welcome to someone who's just joining. I'm afraid we're just about to end, but this whole session has been recorded. It is a bit of a miracle, isn't it? So taking this edge, lining up, I could see the wow. I know, and this is why it's so cool. This is from a square of paper. Unbelievable. It's not as wonky as I thought it would be. It's definitely quite a lovable star. So at the moment you can see it's become a star from a square. Unbelievable. To make it really come together as a starfish, and it will make it 3D, is we're going to take each of the arms and fold it to be very thick from the centre to the outside as a little ridge. So doing that along each of those, and as you do it, it will give it sort of strength from all form actually, and it will really begin to develop the appearance of a starfish. It is quite amazing, isn't it? A little bit hard to get your head around, but that's exactly why it's such fun origami, because it will completely absorb you. And some of these arms are thicker than others. On the inside you can see you could also do it as sort of pressing together like that. There we go. You've hopefully got something a bit like this, and it has a nice little presence there. You can work on those ridges a bit. And hopefully that together with the Peter's wave, a traditional shell, little boat. Shell and waves. And you can also blow your own pieces. I hope it's worked for you, or at least something's worked. Wow, brilliant. Oh, wow. Catherine, well done. That's seriously impressive. Oh, yes, if I could maybe take a little screenshot of us with whatever it is that you have to show. Be proud of it. Okay, so if I do a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, amazing. What collection. Oh, it's so lovely to see. It's lovely colours too. You've all been really creating that beach feel. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the session. I'm just going to stop the filming actually. So many thanks everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I will continue in just a moment. So do hang on there. But I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks everyone.